Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Diane and my passion is painting and creating nature-inspired watercolours in my studio, which are easy for you to do too. I share all my paintings with you on YouTube, and on our website dianeantone.com you can find free downloadable sketches for all the videos to help you make the most of your painting journey. And if you'd like a little bit more, we also have channel memberships with loads of perks for you to enjoy. So welcome on board. Click subscribe and turn on notifications, and let's learn to paint watercolour. Hi everyone, welcome to my studio. Diane here, hope everyone's well. I'm going to today have a go at doing a sort of semi-abstract, very loose, easy watercolour painting. And I'm using a piece of unknown paper. I don't know what this is, but it's watercolour paper, so let's say anything will do. It's not very rough and it's not very smooth. It's not very absorbent, and it's I think it's going to be perfectly fine for what I want to do. What I'm aiming at is going to be something a little bit like this. This is my rough, where I've got a sort of random background, and then I've done some work with some ink. So in order to achieve that, I'm going to use this brush, which is a little Isabi Petit Gris. It's just a brush. Any brush will do. And if you want one like this, you can buy them on Amazon. I'll put a link in the shop and in the description below. I'm going to use my butcher's tray for my colours because I'm going to be using loose wet washes. And the colours I'm going to be using will be these browns down this side here, which is raw sienna, burnt sienna, raw umber, burnt umber. Over the other side, I've got Naples yellow, which I might use. And then, as well as these, I'm going to be using two colours from the Kuretake set. And this is natural beige, and this is cherry blossom pink, just because I don't have a pink at all, nothing pink like that, nothing that's kind of semi-opaque pink in any of my tubes that I normally use. And so that's what I wanted to put in here, is a little bit of pink. Not a lot, just a little. And I'm going to do this as freely as I possibly can and not worry too much about the way it goes. But I'm basically going to try to start in the top left-hand corner here with some, this is raw sienna, so it's a nice light golden colour. I'm going to blend that into some burnt sienna, which is, needless to say, I think in terms of toast, light, raw bread, and then burnt as in toast. So that's why it's more of a rusty colour. And then some raw umber, which is more of a brown. It's a good way of exploring your colours, really. And you don't want to paint in blocks. It's actually surprisingly difficult, isn't it, to paint loosely. So, in just random shapes, we all tend to want to line everything up, really, don't we? So that was a nice blob of pink going in there. And now I'm putting in some of the natural beige. And I'm just using the brush really, I feel like I'm sort of mopping the floor here. So I'm just plomping it down like kind of quite hard to put the colours in. And I'm sort of wanting to be lighter down this side here, darker here, lighter there. So we'll just plonk all these colours in. A bit more pink. The pink dries quite pale, so you don't want to stint too much on that. And if you're lucky, you might get a kind of almost a leathery sort of pattern. Perhaps you might, if you're lucky and your paper reacts in a certain way with the paint. But otherwise, what you will get is a random mixture of browns and sort of ochres and stuff like that. And the thing to do is at this point here where we have just arrived, what you don't want to do is play. You just want to say to yourself, I'm going to let that sit and blend, and then we'll see what we've got when it's dry. And if when it's dry you feel it's too light, you can go in again and do the same thing all over again. But since we're going to draw some leaves and some plant matter on top, you probably don't want it too dark. So I'm going to leave that now and drink my tea, and I'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Again, another lamb. So I've got my background here and it's completely dry. It's actually been a couple of days, and those lambs were shaking quite a lot of tails while I was waiting to have the, I don't know, the wherewithal, the time, the inspiration, and so on and so forth to carry on with this. And I have sort of decided that I'm going to continue with the sort of abstract idea, and I'm using my Kuretake paints, and I'm just going to be putting, just at the moment, for the sake of example, I'm putting some neutrals, some rusty red colours straight off the palette, browns and so on, into this mixing palette here. And I'm just wondering if there is another brown. Let's look at the selection. I've got the 48 piece selection here. So we've got it turned upside down. So yes, so I have just put out that one, and that one, which is maroon, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, Indian red and raw umber. And I can't see any other browns on there, but I think it might be worthwhile picking up some of the pink. So now we have, and maybe that needs a little bit of maroon red in it. Okay, so that's my mixing, my colours that I'm going to use on here. And you see quite a lot of paintings like this going around, don't you? And I don't know, I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to put some circles and some overlapping shapes, and we'll see how it goes. It's like any kind of abstract painting. You you never really know what's going to happen until you get started. It's very, well, I don't know, maybe some artists know what they're going to aim for when they before they get started, but I generally speaking don't. So we have a lovely, nice background there, and I'm probably going to mess it all up by putting different things on top, but we'll see what happens. I'm just brushing the paint in with quite a lot of water. And I thought maybe to put kind of lozenges, shapes, ovals, semi-broken up rectangles, I don't know, different things on here. And then over the top of that, I thought I would try to put some leaf designs. And it's just a design. It isn't anything. It's abstract. Okay, abstract is when it doesn't look like anything. Yeah. Some nice linked colour runs there. No, I don't want, I want to save the darkest for last. That's a reddish, that's this one, isn't it? Yeah. Let's put another one down here. And let's get maybe some pink, just basic pink. Pink with a little bit of brown in it. Maybe in the middle here. And perhaps another circle. Partial circle. Okay, so perhaps that's enough for the minute. This paper is quite smooth, it's quite nice. It's not a rough watercolor paper. It feels more like something between cold press and hot press, actually. I'm just letting this run down a little bit, just dragging that down a bit. And I think in a minute I'm going to have to let it dry. Okay, I'm going to dry that and then I'm going to come back and do some leaves over the top. Okay, that's dry now, and I've mixed up a little bit of raw umber and black mixed together here, which has made a really dark brown colour. And I'm just going to sit down because I'm going to try to put a branch of something across the middle here. So just putting in the stems, the branch part, and then I want these leaves to stand out quite dark. And I'm not sure if I shouldn't be using a smaller brush as well. Maybe both at the same time, because I want the sort of thing I'm thinking is something with actual pointed tip, and then coming down. Whoops. Won't show. When it's finished, hopefully. Perhaps it's better to do it with a smaller brush and get a little bit more control then. We had some snow today. Yes, woke up in the morning and it was white outside and actually still snowing. Don't get snow very often here, and that prompted me to actually look back through all my photos that I keep on Facebook. And the last time we had snow was 2010. And we had quite a dump, actually. Quite a bit of snow. It was about a foot deep, I think. And we actually had to go and buy a snow shovel. Like that. which we've never used since, but we used it today to clear the pavement outside the studio. It's melting now, though. It's nearly all gone. It's often the case in this part of the world. So there we are. You might add a little bit of rusty red, a little bit, make these ones down here a little bit lighter. So that's the start. And now you have to think, oh, what am I going to do next? I will be putting some veins in there when that's completely dry. And I don't know, I mean, there's about 100 trillion things that you could do at this point in time. And I'm not quite sure. I think, let me see. What about a flower? Maybe inside. And then we'll put some black in the centre. A sort of archetypal flower. We will change that later. I'm going to, I think, use a bit of raw sienna as colour. And let's put a stroke of dark. And let's go for some slightly more orange. It's all about letting your personality out, and it's very difficult because you have to start somewhere, especially if you are doing something to order like this, you know, not to order, but I mean for video. And I think all of us who do this kind of thing struggle sometimes and wonder what the heck we were doing. But sometimes it's a good process, but it takes a lot of courage. Actually, you probably don't. Well, maybe you do. I think some people do because they say, oh, I don't know how you manage to produce something almost every day. I don't know either, actually. Sometimes I think it's not going to work. Sometimes it doesn't work. What I want to do, I think, is get my I don't know. What do I want to do? I think I want to use the pen, but I don't quite think that that's right. I don't like this at all. That's going. Sometimes blotting out is a really good thing to do because it gives you some nice texture like that, a bit like printing. We'll do that down here as well to lift out a little bit. I think that works. I think we'll lift out some of this as well. I like it, but not as dark. I was watching somebody doing jelly prints the other day, and she seemed to spend more time lifting the paint off of the jelly thing than she did actually putting it on. She put some on, take it off, put some on, take it off, and then end up with these amazing things. Right, that's going to be enough paint for the minute. I need to get some white for these leaves. Okay, I'm going to have to dry it a little bit. Okay, I've got a bottle of, this is Royal Talens gouache, white gouache, and I'm going to actually use this instead of the white pen because I'm just finding the pen isn't quite up to it. So I'm just going to put some of this white gouache. You could use any brand of white gouache. If you enjoy getting messy, this is the way to do it. That's the thing with the pen, you can guarantee that you, first of all, it'll only ever give you white, and secondly, it will not make a mess of you. But on the other hand, what the problem is that it runs out all the time, and drives you potty because every time you try to do a line, it doesn't. So I'm going to do it with the brush. And I'm going to say, well, if it doesn't make a nice clean line, then that's what I wanted in the first place. But I do at least want a line. And then we can put veins going across. It's a bit more artistic using a brush, if you don't mind having to be a bit more patient. Oh, it's messed with my eyes at the moment. I keep going out of focus. And I haven't been drinking. I might put some dots on too. I'm just going to take my glasses. I think actually my eyes are going out of focus. Oh dear. It's about a year since I went to the optician. And I'm just wondering, yesterday I was just thinking, maybe there's been a bit of alteration. I shouldn't talk about things like that, should I? I ought to just talk about painting. But the thing is, when you're painting, it does matter actually whether or not you can see. I know there are quite a lot, there's even some blind people who paint, and it's amazing. But okay. Okay, I don't think that's too bad. I think that's better, actually, for this kind of painting, probably. Well, it's a matter of taste, I suppose, but yeah, I think that's okay. And then while I have the white ink, I think we could do, maybe we'll do another one of these. I like these spirals. I think they have a sort of, I don't know, they have some kind of a little bit, it's a bit like the Wheel of Life or something, I don't know. Somebody said that they have a spiritual significance. And I'm going to put some white dots over here. If only you can stop aiming for something particular or stop trying to do something well, then that's when you start to have fun. And this is not easy, is it? I'm going to go round these ones. I was reading a book the other day. I'll put it in my Amazon shop by a chap called Gordon Mackenzie. And he's got a couple of books. One is really a how to paint book, talking all about the techniques and everything. But he's got another one called Keep on Painting, I think it's called. I'll put it on my bookshelf in my Amazon shop. I think it's called Keep on Painting. And the first 2 or 3 chapters of it are all about how to develop your creativity. And I think it's really interesting, actually. And he asks this question, or at least he tells you this thing. He says, you don't have to paint the way you always painted. And I've really taken that to heart, because I always painted in a particular way, a sort of semi-traditional watercolor style that's been around for a long time. But in the last couple of years, since I've been doing this, I have kind of broken out of that. And I'm not saying I'm a fantastic artist by any means, but I have managed to break away from the straitjacket that I had put myself in. And then he says, and you have no one to please but yourself. Now, that's a little bit more tricky if you happen to be doing this on YouTube, because obviously I have to please my followers, otherwise they wouldn't follow me anymore. But it's very important for the average painter to remember that at the end of the day, why are they doing it? They're doing it to enable their own soul to grow, I think. Isn't it? Something like that. So you're not doing it to please other people, you're doing it for yourself. Okay, so that's the white, and now I'm going to use a pen. I'll put my glasses back on. Or maybe I won't. I think it might be better without my glasses. I have got a pen here, which is, I don't know, can you see? It's got a very strange nib. It's not a simple dip pen. It's got a sort of double nib. And I can't tell you where it came from. I was given it, left it by someone who died. And happens more and more, doesn't it, as we get older? Anyway, it holds a lot more ink than the basic kind. And I'm going to look for some ink. I want to use dark brown, so I want walnut, I think. That's blue Prussian blue. The next painting I'm going to do is also going to be pen and ink. Here we are, walnut. This is Sennelier. This is a traditional ink. And I'm just going to put some more leaves on here, using ink. There we are. Right. So we'll just dip that in there. Make sure it's working. And we want some smaller leaf-like things. And what I like about doing this is pressing hard and soft, getting a thicker and a thinner line like that. It just feels nice. If anybody knows what this kind of nib is called, I would be very interested to hear, because I don't know the names of any of these things. I don't know anything about calligraphy or pens or anything. And just let it go. I think some of the knowledge has gone away. I've got some leaflets and things that came with these pens and brushes and stuff, but doesn't mean anything to me. There. And that presumably will dry a bit lighter. And then to balance that off, I think we probably need to put some dots down here in ink that you can't really very easily do with a brush. You could imagine that these represented seeds flying around in nature. I think this line needs to come down behind here. And we'll put a few more of these leaves down here. Maybe one behind here. Dried leaves, something like that. Now this one, I think, could probably benefit from a little bit more definition, like that. And you just keep on playing, really. And just put a nice thin line down here. And then maybe... You see how long this lasts? The ink just goes on and on. Move that out of the way. Well, I think this is pretty much looking as if it's probably more or less done, I think. And you could go on and on and on, couldn't you? You could do much more on there if you wanted to, but I think probably it's about time to stop. Hope you enjoyed that. Give it a try. It's what you could call an extension of the idea that we did the other day when we did this sort of semi-abstract sort of background and then a few leaves. And this has gone a little bit further, another layer, basically another layer of watercolor. And yeah, so give us a like and subscribe, turn on notifications, etc., etc. Everyone knows all of that by now. And don't forget to check out channel membership or Patreon if you feel like you'd like to offer us a bit more support. And in return for that, if you're a member of Patreon now, we are gradually uploading, and we will eventually upload all of the videos that are available here on YouTube, which will remain available here on YouTube. Will be on Patreon with no ads, so you'll be able to watch them without any interference from any adverts or anything. So that's a little bit of an extra bonus. And there's a few other perks as well. That's for Patreon members. And yes, right. I'll say bye-bye for now then, everybody, and I'll see you again soon. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.